Hello, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America, featuring today's top directors sharing behind-the-scenes stories of their latest films and insights into the craft of directing. Please take a second to subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. In this episode, Rian Johnson takes us behind the scenes of his new murder mystery comedy, Knives Out. The film is a whodunit, following debonair detective Benoit Blanc's investigation of the death of renowned crime novelist Harlan Thrombey. With suspects aplenty in Thrombey's dysfunctional family and devoted staff, Blanc must wade through a sea of red herrings to uncover the truth. In addition to Knives Out, Mr. Johnson's directorial credits include the feature films Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, Looper, The Brothers Bloom, Brick, and episodes of the television series Terriers and Breaking Bad. He won the DGA Award for Outstanding Directorial Achievement in Dramatic Series for his 2012 Breaking Bad episode 51. Following a recent screening of the film at the DGA Theater in Los Angeles, Mr. Johnson spoke with director Denis Villeneuve about filming Knives Out. Listen on for their spoiler-filled conversation.
Good evening. Welcome to this experimental Q&A.
It'll be entirely dance-based.
I don't understand English, so that's why it's going to be experimental. Okay. No, seriously, it's a privilege for me to be with you tonight. It's a movie that I deeply loved, and I'm very honored to ask you a few questions, Rian, tonight.
Oh, thank you. Thank you guys for being here. And Denis, thank you so much. I know you're in the middle of post-production right now.
I owe you one. I owe you one.
Thank you for being here, man.
So, I read somewhere that Knives Out was an old dream of yours. It's something that you had in the back of your pocket for a while.
Yeah, I grew up reading Agatha Christie, and that's really where all this came from. It's just wanting to do a whodunit. And is there a word in French for whodunit? I don't think there is for whodunit.
No.
Nope.
No.
Well, the American genre of whodunit.
Genre is a French word, by the way. That you can say.
The American genre of whodunit, Dennis. Let me tell you. I always wanted to do one, and so along with Agatha Christie's books, just the Agatha Christie adaptations I grew up watching when I was a kid, which were the ones with Peter Ustinov as Poirot. Have you seen those? Yes. So Death on the Nile, Evil Under the Sun, they had all-star casts, and they were big event, fun entertainments that had a cheeky, kind of self-aware sense of humor, but never ticked over into murder by death or Clue territory. They were never parodies of whodunits. They were always.
You just described your film quite beautifully.
That's what we were gunning for with this. And they were, when I was a kid, those were like, I remember going with my family and feeling that's the most fun a movie could possibly be, is this type of movie. And so wanting to kind of capture that.
But you use the word fun. There's something about your filmmaking. There's something about your movies, I think, in general, that the sense of playfulness, which is a very strong quality for me. It's like something that you want to engage with the audience playing a game. Am I right? Or this idea of playing with a genre to subvert things, where you have a kind of an iconoclast and at the same time to surprise. The idea of to destabilize, to play with the audience, to play with their perception. Is it something that it's
like a piano? Yeah, totally, completely. And that's I oftentimes, when I think about like genre and like why I like using genre, I don't think about it a lot. I say oftentimes when I think, it's not like I sit at home thinking, why do I like genre? But I will use the analogy of a game board. What I like about genre is it gives you a game board between you and the audience where you both know the rules of the game. And so they know when you're playing by those rules and they know when you're breaking them. And so that creates a very interesting, to me at least, a very interesting meta conversation between you and the audience, because there's the conversation with how I'm moving the pieces, and then there's almost the under the table conversation of knowing when I'm doing things that don't quite make sense. Oh, this is going here, because the audience knows the rules of the game. So, yeah, and the fun of that, the play of that, like that is something that that's kind of an essential ingredient of what gets me excited.
I feel that strongly watching your movies. Next card, which was about genre. No, okay. The thing is that in this one, it's also by playing with this. It's so much beautiful to say genre in French than genre. I don't know. It's difficult for me to pronounce. You did more than a whodunit for me. Is that there's something about you brought, as you said, some element of comedy, but also it's a political movie in the same time. Can you comment a bit on this?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to. I mean, it's not a subtle film. I don't have to spell out what the political stuff in it is, but that was a very important thing for me. Is not so much to make some kind of political statement or something, but really, I mean, one of the things I think this genre, you're gonna have to rate me. Genre is I'll get it by the end of this Q&A. Is very often thought of as kind of timeless and as a little kind of jewel box, like apart from reality, the worlds of the whodunit. And I think that is largely because most of the time when we see them, they're period pieces and they're Agatha Christie adaptations, which are set in the past. They're disconnected from our world. And it's easy to forget that if you're an Agatha Christie fan, it's not like she was a political writer, but she was always engaging with her time. And she was always engaging with contemporary British society through this spectrum of characters that she created, from the high to the low of whatever microcosm she was creating of kind of the powers of society with her little kind of mansion or whatever she was setting the novel in. So, and you can pick up any Agatha Christie book and read it and instantly know what decade it was written in or what period of time, because she wasn't writing timeless books. She was always engaging with the culture. So the notion of recapturing that and really plugging this into America in 2019, that again seemed exciting.
One of the question I wanted to talk about was a thing I wanted to talk about. For me, the main character of the movie. For me, the main character of the movie is the house, and I was wondering, because the plot evolved so much about the structure, I will say the geography of the house. Is it a house that you knew before you wrote the screenplay, or you discover as you were writing the screenplay, or did you write the screenplay and then found a house that was matching grosso modo what you were looking for and adapted the screenplay? Because it's so precise.
Yeah, it was. Well, I'm glad that it feels that way, because it was the last thing you described. I was writing the script, and we started scouting for houses when I was near the end of writing, and we found this house in Massachusetts. This is a real house. It's just a mansion in the middle of Massachusetts, and it really is the murder mystery mansion of the mind. It's perfect.
That's fantastic.
It evokes, but I mean, geography-wise, though, in terms of the specifics. The upstairs hallway with the trick window we had to build on a stage, and also his attic office above that, and that basically that little hallway and the attached office we had to build. Other than that, though, I was able to kind of adapt and make it work, and we built a trellis on the outside where we needed it, and kind of faked a few things but made them work. And but the tone of that house and like the feel of it, and the especially once David Crank, our production designer, and give it up for David Crank, who, anyone who doesn't know, he's collaborated with Jack Fisk on PTA's movies and on Terrence Malick's movies. He's an absolutely lovely man and a genius. And then our set decorator, David Schlesinger, who is the one who found all of the amazing stuff inside the house. All of that was brought in by Schlesinger, and he found a local collector of automatons, of like the doll robots, because I had given them the reference of the film Sleuth from the 70s, which is one of my favorite films, and so he found a collector of automatons in Massachusetts and convinced him to lend us his collection of these priceless automatons. And all of those, like, there's the detail in it. I can still pause the movie and like find things I hadn't seen before.
But that's the first thing that struck me at the beginning of the movie is that all those beautiful inserts that you did with a lot of love, I will say, as a director, I was like, wow, okay, that's very beautiful inserts of all those objects. I mean, are you victim of some kind of fetishism, or? I mean, it's like
well,
no, but it's something you work a lot with inserts, a lot.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it is something that I mean, there are a couple of movies that do kind of spark. I mean, Sleuth very much does that. I don't know if you've seen the 70s version of Sleuth, Michael Caine and Laurence Olivier. It's a brilliant film, but it uses that.
I will humiliate myself in front of everybody, but I will watch it this week or something.
Okay, no, that's actually, anyone who's seen it is excited for you, because seeing it for the first time, it's got some twists and turns that are just amazing. Death Trap is another one that's, those are kind of whodunit adjacent films. They aren't really whodunits. But they're adjacent to the genre. Yes, adjacent à le genre.
No, but the thing is that by using those inserts at the beginning of the movie, you create a sensation of claustrophobia, but also that the house comes alive. Like you feel the ghost, you feel the past, you feel all those stories, all the parallel stories. You feel like there's like a construction. And is it something that you did by intuition, or it was part of the game? You understand my question?
Yeah. I mean, both. It felt very right for that opening sequence. I mean, the whole point of that opening kind of overture, when she's walking through the house and taking all that time, is to basically, before we meet the patriarch, Harlan Thrombey, to meet him before we meet him, to basically lay out you understand him basically before you even meet him because of his house, and so soaking in as much detail as possible. And there is a fetishistic, sort of, like you say, there is that element of it that just gives me great intense pleasure. Like these incredibly gorgeous. It's something that kind of I don't know. I think about Ricky Jay, and Ricky's. Please give it up for Ricky Jay, who, those of you who don't know, Ricky was I was very lucky to count him as a friend, and he is he passed away recently, but he was a scholar of magic, and he was one of the great sleight of hand artists in the world, but he was also a scholar of all things interesting and unusual and obscure. And so anyway, it's something that makes me think of Ricky as the joy taken in all these little odd relics and relishing them as we walk around the house, basically.
That's really, I thought it was a total success. The thing is that I would like to talk about the characters in the movie that are, again, as everything in this movie, there's a level of precision that I thought was very impressive in general. The thing is, the characters, I mean, you wrote the movie, so it means that when you approach the actors, our things are all bolted in concrete in your mind, or you like to brainstorm with the actors? Do you like that? As an example, where that Mississippi accent came from?
Yeah, I mean, more and more, I grow less and less concrete, and that's that. I enjoy more and more. I mean, the joy is being surprised by actors on set, and so whether in casting, I'm always casting with an eye towards who is going to be amazing to work with, and but I don't know how they're going to play this part, and that means that on set I'm going to be surprised, and I figure if I'm being surprised and delighted, then I'm a good surrogate for the audience. So Daniel was a good example of that, actually. I had written the part too much. At first, I started writing, and I had Poirot too much in my head, and I started throwing all these quirks at the character. It got ridiculous. I did like an eye patch, and it was just silly. And finally, I was like, "This is terrible." And so I'd stripped all that out and said, "Okay, he has a Southern accent to make him a fish out of water with these New England wasps." And then whoever I find to play this part, because I didn't know who's going to play it, will figure it out, and I'll trust them to inhabit this and bring the qualities that the character needs. And it's not like we rewrote it. There wasn't a ton of changes to the dialogue or anything.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like him bringing that slight sense of self-inflation to it, and that tinge of he loves to hear his own voice, and finding that Mississippi accent, that Shelby Foote, Mississippi drawl, and him luxuriating in that, that kind of gave it that Ustinov Poirot kick. He found the slight clownishness of the character that I feel like is so important for an eccentric detective like that.
I felt definitely you feel it that the cast had a blast. I mean, a lot of pleasure in the way they approach their characters, the way they portray their characters, the all the little things that they brought. I mean, as an audience, like you feel. It's like, how did you work with them? Did you do a lot of rehearsal, table readings? Or?
No, I've never done I've done one table reading in my life for my first film, Brick, and it was such a disaster. We almost didn't make the movie, and so I haven't done one since. And I find them uniquely unhelpful. I know there are directors who really love them, and I'm sure I just haven't figured out how to properly use them yet. But they just kind of make me frustrated. And so, no, I like to get in there and work. I do love rehearsing. We did not get a chance really to rehearse with this movie because, first of all, because the movie came together so quickly. I started writing the film, like sitting down and writing, January of 2018, last year. And we had wrapped the film by Christmas. It happened blindingly fast. And part of that was... we found it was Daniel signing on because he had a very quick window before he went back into James Bond world, and we were very lucky to everything came together. We had been talking for a while before that to Modi and Bry and Jonathan at MRC, and we wanted to work with them, and they jumped right in, and we were making them, and everything just kind of came together. And then with them, we hooked up with Lionsgate, and everything kind of clicked, and we were making it really quick. So anyway, which is all to say, we did not have time for rehearsal. Yeah.
So that's amazing because there's a tone, but it's all credits to you, but there's a tone, the general tone. You feel that they are playing in a Johnson universe, It's like playing they are on your planet, and the thing is to get that tone without rehearsal and having everybody playing the same. You understand what I mean?
Well, I think it's a credit to them. I mean, everybody clicked in very, very quickly. We had to. But I found they clicked in very quickly. It was amazing to me. Like from day one, we had conversations about some of the things I talked about before, about finding this tone where it was fun and self-aware but never left the planet Earth because it still had to work as a movie. And they all heard that and were really, really good at what they did, and they found it very quick, and everyone kind of clicked together. From day one, I found I didn't even have to do many takes. Like, they got it very, very fast. I was like, yes, that's it.
You had an amazing cast.
Yeah, exactly, with people like this. Yeah, exactly.
And do you improvise a little bit? Because of the comical elements, do you allow yourself to get out of the road a little bit sometimes, or you don't have the time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I love, especially when they're all arguing. And it was funny who would be great at it that you wouldn't expect. Like the best improv person in the whole group, Michael Shannon. And some of the funniest lines in the movie, he had a line that just killed. He was like, "I'm not eating one iota of shit." He shouts back at Chris. That was a Michael Shannon special, and he started just he went up and started shoving the cookies into Chris Evans' face at the end of that argument scene. And said, "Maybe Harlan left you a cold glass of milk in his will, asshole." And that's a Shannon. It's like he would just. I think because you don't expect him to be hilarious because he's so he can seem so intense. It's even funnier. Yeah, it's even funnier. Yeah. So, no, I love it, and and there wasn't room obviously for too much just because it's such a jigsaw puzzle of a movie. But
really, it's like it's a very precise mechanic. So it's like.
But you want to stay loose. I don't know. That's the thing. Again, increasingly, I take pleasure in showing up and figuring out how loose we can stay on set and how much we can play. And if there's a new idea, if we can incorporate it, that's something where I think when I started making films, I was much more locked up and precious, and I've taken more and more pleasure in loosening my grip on set, I guess, and finding things.
I understand that, but it's a brilliant. At the beginning, there's a cross-cutting interrogation sequence. I deeply loved it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant because the way you were able to, again, that element of playfulness, but also the suspense that it was creating, a playful suspense, not knowing who will be giving the answer. When you constructed that sequence, was it written as it is, or you made a bit longer interaction with each character, so give you a bit more space in the editing room?
It was pretty much written as it is. We did, as you know, you always do a little compressing and tightening over the course of it. It was pretty close to what it was, and it's interesting too because on the page that first 20 or 30 pages of the script, that is that opening thing, that was. We never didn't get the note from the script from anybody, any of my smart writer friends I showed to, anybody, that those pages they're like, well, the first 20 pages are really, really rough, but then the script kind of clicks in and takes off. And it was really hard because I started to come to a realization that is a very dangerous realization to come to, which is just that it was much harder to read on the page than it would be to see on the screen. Because of the intercutting, because of you're asking them to remember all of these names on the page, whereas opposed to you recognize, oh, that's Tony Collette, oh, that's Michael Shannon. If you're just reading Waltz, Joni, it's tougher to keep in your head. And the thing is, you never want to do that. You never want to give yourself the out of, yeah, I know that's really tough to read, but I think it'll play on the screen. You never want to give yourself that. And we kept working on it. I kept trying to make it as fast and fun as possible, but at some point, I did just have to make that leap and say, I think this is a type of sequence that it'll flow really naturally when we shoot it, even if it's tough to read.
Fantastic sequence, I must say.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Very, very beautiful. Very. What is your relationship with editing? Are you someone who likes to be behind the editor's shoulder all the time, or you're more, what is it?
Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm really bad. My editor, Bob Doucet, deserves a medal for his patience with me. I started, because I started cutting as a kid, I just always, growing up, making my own movies, I just cut my own stuff. And Brick, my first film, I cut myself. I learned how to edit just by having my hands on the material. And it's really been Bob Doucet, who is an incredible editor, and he really has taught me how to work with an editor. He has taught me the value of that collaboration, and to the point where I can't imagine. It's for me, that collaboration with Bob is now, it's so incredibly valuable and important. And so yeah, anyway, but yeah, I am incredibly involved in the whole process,
I understand, but I understand the value of working with someone that is as strong or better than you in a editing room in a way. To throw the ball.
And brings different strengths to it than you, and kind of and gives you a different perspective. I think that's the thing that that's the gold that you're trying to protect through the editing process, is some degree of perspective, and it's a thing you just lose at some point.
But a movie like that, from a structural point of view, I guess it didn't evolve that much.
It didn't. No, less than any of the other films that I've done, and it I guess that makes sense. Again, considering you would think, I thought going into it, we'll probably do a lot of shuffling because of the weird modular nature of it. But I guess, it clicked together very quickly. And, we did a lot of work on it, but we didn't do much rearranging at all.
Okay. And it's a weird question, but is it a lot of things on the floor of the editing room right now? Or?
No, not much. There's really two very, very good scenes, which we won't put back in the movie, but we'll we'll put somewhere in with the home video release. But there's a lot of little tightening, and then there's two scenes, but not a lot. Yeah, this was...
Again, the screenplay is like so precise that I don't see where you could, but it's very, very, very precise.
Yeah. I think that was it. Yeah, we got on the. We did do a lot of work in the cutting room. There was a lot and there is a lot that was left on the floor, but it's pieces of lines, it's little bits of business, it's that kind of thing,
And you told me that you had like 35 days of shooting. That's quite amazing. Strong work.
It felt good to. It's not fast as far as fast shoots go, but it is, it's not a long time to shoot. And so, but that to me was fun. I had a great time making the last movie I made was a Star Wars movie, and I had a great time making that. But it was 6 months of shooting. It was 115 days. Yeah, and there was something I felt really good about just jumping in, and you can't get precious. You have to shoot it. Yeah.
And how was it to? I'm trying to remember Star Wars, but I think that there was much more people involved on
I was excited you were going to ask a specific question. I wanted to hear you in your accent say the word Wookiee. I thought it would be really, it'd be the most beautiful.
No, but the thing is that you to work with that many actors on set at the same time.
No, yeah, that was another big difference with this and this is the first time I've ever really staged and blocked a dozen actors at once. And that was, for me, that was kind of the postgraduate course of this movie was figuring out how to block lots of actors. And I found myself thinking much more about staging and blocking than about camera angles with this, which, again, was another fantastic way to start wrapping my head around it, going and watching directors who are really good at blocking and figuring out how to stage and looking at, Michael Curtiz.
When you say, what was your source of inspiration when you say?
Well, I would go back. I would watch a lot of older films where they didn't do a lot of coverage. I watched Michael Curtiz movies and look at how he blocks large groups of actors in the frame so that he can carry. And we did, we did coverage with this. We're still cutting around. It's obviously not a Michael Curtiz movie, but just looking at the way that he. I don't know. In the older films, Spielberg's like a modern master of it. There's guys who just know how to block actors so that one person moves and the shot changes into a different shot with the camera not even moving. And realizing that is as important a tool. I always thought about camera angles when I was, starting out making movies. It was about getting cool angles. Realizing that staging and blocking is maybe more important than or that they dance together, I guess. That was, for me, a big, probably obvious, but for me, that's something I've been learning.
I totally understand. Yeah. Talking about camera work, one thing that I love in your is the art of your panoramics, your pans, very precise, fast. I read somewhere that once your camera work was inspired by 8.5 or something. Is it true?
Well, I love that movie, but yeah. But
there's something about the art of just grabbing something that is just there out of frame that surprise you and gives a total different meaning to what you just saw.
I love and something that feels that is motivated by psychology as opposed to by following an actor. Something that where a camera move communicates perspective, of subjective perspective, as opposed to something where you're literally tracking you're moving because the object you're filming is moving. And that's, that is something that, there's something that Fellini just does to the 2000th degree, but that is something that I love, and there's not a ton of it in this movie. It's a very straightforward movie as far as that goes, but whenever there's an opportunity to express point of view subjectively through camera work. Scorsese is the other one who's obviously the master of that. You look at, especially in the period around Life Lessons and After Hours, the stuff that he was doing to convey a psychological, stare to convey through camera. I'm babbling now. It's not,
please.
You fixed me with those.
But my friend, I thank you so much for your generosity. Sorry, guys, as you see, I'm not professional. The thing is, I thank you. It was a privilege for me to talk.
This was so much fun. Denis, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Guys, thank you. That was a blast, man. You did so good.
Thanks for listening to another DGA Q&A. If you'd like to hear more, you can find past episodes of The Director's Cut wherever you listen to podcasts. Stay tuned for more great Q&As with directors the Safdie brothers and Sam Mendes. And be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us. We'd love to hear your feedback, and you can help fellow cinephiles find the show. Thanks again for listening, and have a great week. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America. Music is by Dan Wally.